Bryan of Chaos. Today's episode, we are guested with Bryan Steele. He's the former CMON games developer. He's participated in the development of games such as Wrath of Kings and Dark Age, along with others. I can't name them all. We're very excited to have Bryan on the show today and to discuss the development of games, because I'm just going to let you know beforehand, Bryan, I want to pick your brain a lot, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers will pick your brain as well.
Absolutely.
Now, before we go in, some bookkeeping. We are going to be doing the announcing the giveaways, the winners of the giveaways here, which we'll do on the show for the Elite Edition giveaways. So that's later on, and Bryan as well has some giveaways for you folks. And so, what do we want to show them now, or do you want to?
I can show off fun swag. So, one of my current gigs that I'm working on is the official Hasbro licensed through Renegade Games Mighty Morphin Power Rangers role-playing game. And so Renegade gifted me a whole bunch of cool stuff for Power Rangers. And this has got five different versions of Tommy, formerly known as the Green Ranger.
Yep.
And then the little side thing has got a Gold Ranger in it as well. They're larger. They're like 40 mil scale, because they're used for the board game, but they're actually really cool little minis. I've painted up a bunch of I haven't even played the board game version, but I've painted up a bunch of the set because they're fun. So I figured someone out there could paint them up and find a cool use for them, even if they don't play the board game.
Cool. And if you grew up in the 90s, it should probably mean more to you.
Honestly, it's still going. It's like a 30-year-old show.
What? Seriously?
Yeah.
I did not know.
It is still ongoing, and if you go to Netflix and type in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in the search bar, it will fill up your entire screen with the various seasons and shows and movies, and I had no idea before I signed on how big it was.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, super crazy. So here's something odd. We are not, for some reason, we're not connecting to Twitch, and we should be. So, what is going on here? Oh wait, nope. Yes, we are. We're just not picked. It's in OBS. It doesn't show any viewers, but I'm looking at the comments and I see a bunch of people commenting from Twitch. So obviously we have Twitch viewers. So
it's obviously there. It's just not coming through the.
Now it magically populates a number. Okay, Twitch, you were holding those numbers back on me, thinking that there was no one there. Okay, well, yeah. So just to dive into some of the stuff here, for those of you who don't know Bryan, obviously he's, I would say, more of a behind the scenes kind of guy, but not so much anymore because you got a YouTube channel.
I started my YouTube channel a little over. It's almost 2 years now. When I left CMON and started going back to freelance gigs, I needed a way to express gamerhood, to try and help other people. You know, if they're gamers and wanted to see what it's like to be a freelance designer. So I started off as almost like a vlog.
Oh yeah.
And it turned into a topic of the week, and then I spiraled off and started running a YouTube D&D channel that where I was running some Spelljammer for a handful of other industry people. You know, when we can all get together to play, which is not as often as we'd like. But yeah, it started off as just kind of a way for me to maybe help others find the path that I've kind of landed on. And it turned into something I do every week now, every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. I put out a show, and we do topics from anywhere from, how to negotiate a contract to last week I did politics when you're writing a narrative arc how to put politics into it without necessarily being, super heavy-handed about it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So it's sounds like it's an eclectic bunch of stuff that's happening.
I try to get the subscribers and comments if people ask for a particular show. I'll put it on the slot and see when it comes up.
So just as a reminder, what's the name of the YouTube channel again?
Tales from a Professional Nerd.
Okay. And you're also on TikTok.
At the Professional Nerd.
Instagram, Twitter as well, I'm guessing.
Yes, Instagram and Twitter. Those are not Professional Nerd. Those are at Bryan Steele.
Okay.
And that's mostly just because I never really shifted them over to the whole Professional Nerd motif.
Okay, gotcha. So for those of you wondering, there will be links to all of this on the post afterwards. So if you're watching this right now and it's not live, then just look at the post wherever it is, whether it's on the Mini Wargaming website or Facebook or even Twitter. Links to all of Bryan's stuff will be included. Okay,
awesome,
so when did you get into the hobby? Like, when did you first hear about miniature wargaming?
So I started with minis way back when using them for D&D. My older stepbrother, he used to paint minis before he went into the Navy, and when he went into the Navy, he handed me his brushes and his models and was like, go forth and populate. And I fell in love with the hobby aspect of just painting the models initially, and a few years after that, a handful of us from the local comic book show or comic book shop went to it was called the Three River Con up in Michigan. This tiny little nothing, maybe 40 people show up. I mean, it was a tiny little nothing convention, held in the basement of a hotel, that sort of thing. And I remember walking in and seeing it was a table filled with the old plastic Tyranids from the Tyranid Attack board game.
Okay. Never even heard of that.
This goes back to the 80s. They looked like little plastic ants. They were awful. So it was basically the successor to Space Hulk. Whereas Space Hulk was Terminators fighting Gene Stealers, Tyranid Attack was Space Marine scouts attacking a Tyranid hive ship.
Okay.
And it was as expected. You walked into a corridor, you flipped a card, and it's like, oh, the door just ate you. Oh, great. But it came with a bunch of Gene Stealers, and it came with a bunch of the first time that Tyranid warriors actually had a model. And it was maybe a 7-foot table. Like, I remember it being enormous, but I was also only like 16. So I hadn't seen Apocalypse games. I hadn't seen games that like take up an entire floor. I had never even known what a Titan was at that point. But it was just this huge war game, and I was like, okay, I'm in. What do I have to do? And me and a couple of my friends grabbed a squad or two from these guys and rolled some dice, blew some stuff up, and immediately, fell in love. I was like, nope, this is what's happening. I bought a Rogue Trader book that day.
Nice.
And then, like, less than 6 months later, the first big 40K box set that had like the Black Codex and the cardboard standee Orc Dreadnought in it.
Yep.
That came out like less than 6 months later. So I probably played maybe one game of Rogue Trader 40K, and probably played it badly, like completely wrong, before like what we now know as 40K hit the table.
Right.
And me and my friends, all of my high school friends, we jumped in with both feet, and that was what got me initially into mini wargaming, and then I branched out into like BattleTech, and then anything that could anything that I could roll dice and move with a tape measure, I'd give a shot, and now here we are. Many moons later.
Many moons later. Okay, cool. So that kind of like, that's what started you in the hobby as a whole. How did you get into developing games?
So getting into the industry is one of my great. I love telling this story, and not because it's like, I want to pat myself on the back. I completely lucked out. There's no question. It was 2001, and I had been working. College did not work out great for me. I did not fall into an amazing job immediately after leaving school. And I was just basically going from dead-end retail job to dead-end retail job until I landed on a cube job at a state farm. Basically, I was just calling fire departments to find out water pressure numbers. It was awful. For a writer, for a writer and a creative, It was soul crushing.
I'm sure, yeah.
Oh, it was horrible, but it was a steady paycheck, and I was recently married.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta support my wife. We bought a house. I've gotta do this.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the lines, after about 6-7 months of being at that job, my wife at the time looked at me and said, "We've got to get you in something else. You're withering. This is killing everything that you are as a person." And so we talked to our local comic book shop about buying in, basically kind of buying into the overhead, becoming part of management, give me a place where I can work, but I could still write, and I could still, because I've always been a writer. I've always been an author, writing short stories and things for magazines and stuff ever since I was in high school.
Yeah.
And we needed some way for me to keep going on that direction. And so we went to go buy into the local comic book shop. And while we were still in the negotiation process of figuring out how that would work, the owner of the shop said, "Well, if you're really honestly, truly interested in this, we need to show you the business side of things. And it's not all just the cool guy behind the Simpsons counter that says, hey everybody, there's more to it than that." And he took me to a trade show. He took me to the Alliance Open House in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is technically only supposed to be creators and purchasers.
Right.
It's not for fans. And so we get there, and immediately I'm just like, this is awesome. This is amazing. Everybody's giving us free stuff, which at that time I was super into. And just, you need to talk to the creators of games, these people that, this is their job to make games. I love what you guys are doing. And they're telling you, hey, this is what you want in your store for next year. And I remember we did the little line through all of the different people, and there was a small company, 2 guys in a booth, and all they had really done so far was a couple of Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 splat books in their own little world, and they had just put out a new monster book. But they were talking about how the next year they were going to put out a minis game. Mm-hmm. And they had 5 or 6 models from this new minis game, unpainted metal, no stat cards. Everything was written on like index cards and like slips of paper. This is how brand new it was as far as they were concerned. They were like, hey, next year this is going to be the big thing. Mm-hmm. And we stopped by and we pushed these minis around, and I was like, man, this is a cool game. At that point I had been a gamer long enough that I could recognize this isn't going to flop. This is going to be a really solid game set. And I told them, hey, if you ever need anything at all, drop me a line. And I gave them my business card, which at that time was basically, here's my MySpace account. It was go to my MySpace and look me up. And I had done a little bit of playtesting for Agents of Gaming, did a little bit of playtesting for Void. Nothing really deep by any stretch.
Right.
But it was still that was my gamer resume. But also on my MySpace account, I talked about how I had done a little bit of writing for some magazines. Well, about a month later, I get an email from Matt, one of the 2 guys at the booth, and he says, "Hey, it says here you've done some writing. We'd love to have you maybe do some writing for us. What do you think? Can you take a look at it?" Mm-hmm. And so I did a little test piece, a little 2,000 word thing. And at the time, I always had my wife edit my stuff. Mm-hmm. And I put this piece in front of her. It was a couple of warlocks fighting over this this road, and there's this little goblin guy, and at the end of the goblin guy dies, and everyone's sad. Filled with ennui, the grim dark representation. And my wife at the time, she looks at me and goes, "Why'd you kill the little guy?" And I'm like, "Well, because it's dark and deep and edgy." And she's like, "Well, can't he live?" I'm like, "Well, why?" And she's like, "Because it should be like kind of this bright spot. Give them something to fight for. Maybe he's too lucky to die. That sort of thing." And so I changed the ending of the story before I handed it into Matt. Mm-hmm. And it was actually that change, that story arc, that got me my initial contract with Privateer Press in 2002.
Oh, wow.
That story was the opening story for War Machine Prime, the original rulebook. We won 3 Origins Awards for it. I did 70,000 words in War Machine Prime in 2002. We won 3 Origins Awards the next year for it, and that was what set my career. I was like, I never want to do anything else.
That's fantastic. Wow.
And I'd like to, like I said, I lucked out. I was in the right place at the right time. I recognized a good product, and I got in with a really cool company. I stayed with Privateer, I think, until 2004 or 5. It was a few months worth of no quarter before I got an offer to come do Starship Troopers and Babylon 5 with Mongoose Publishing. Mm-hmm. And then I stayed at Mongoose for like 6 years. But that was how I got into the industry side of things as actually a creative. It was through Mongoose that I went from writing to designing, because I made narrative and I made characters for Privateer, but I didn't do any rule stuff. That was all Jason and those guys.
Right.
When I was with Mongoose, that was where they started doing the whole, they would hand me a concept for a book and say, "Okay, write the book." And I go, "Okay, well, who's my developer? Who's doing the rules port?" And they're like, "Well, that's you." Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm going to start making rules now. And I was at Mongoose for 6 years, and I learned a lot of how to how to write with other people's IP in licensed canons. I worked for Warner Brothers, Conan, Babylon 5, Traveler, RuneQuest. There was a lot of licenses that we got to play with Mongoose, and it taught me a lot. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I got into the developing and design aspect of things. Is I was sort of instructed that while you're writing this book, start making rules, and our playtesters will help you iron out, making them fair. And fast forward 15 years, and here I am.
That's cool. So it started with that. It started with the War Machine. Really was the first you said, right?
That was my first paid publication, was War Machine Prime.
Yeah.
Which was, I remember when Matt said, he goes, "Do you think you can do 70,000 words by August?" And at that point in my career as a writer, I didn't even know what 70,000 words looked like.
Right.
The concept seemed weird.
Yeah. So just for context, like how many pages is that? Like a typical.
Well, your average 200-page novel is about 80,000 words.
Okay.
Between 80 and 100,000 is your average novel.
So write a novel.
And so
that's basically.
Yeah. Cool. So it was basically, and then the next, and that was about 3 months worth of time. I lucked out basically when I gave them my test piece. Their full-time author with the company at the time, he got a different gig and he left them kind of in a lurch. Mm-hmm. And that I happened to have been in the right place at the right time. And they said, "Do you think you can do 70,000 by August?" And I was like, "Absolutely, not a problem. How much is 70,000?" And that was how I ended up in the solidly both feet planted in the industry. I think I quit my day job, like my part-time extracurricular, selling cell phones job. I think the last time I worked one was in 2004. So I've been full-time for 16 years, doing writing and designing, either for a company or freelance.
So, okay, we have a comment here from Richard Rich on Twitch. He says, wonder if you can earn money with such a job. Sounds like more dedication than monetization.
I do okay.
Well, you said it's full
like to
time,
talk
right?
numbers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it is, and in all honesty, so you're looking right now. If you can actually see the video, this is my studio. I live here. It is attached to the house, but this is it is almost more than a full-time job, because I will often be at my stepdaughter's volleyball game, and like an idea will hit, and I'll grab my phone and like, okay, I got to put it in the notes.
Yeah.
I almost always have a clipboard or a notebook or a pen in my car, because I never know when something's gonna hit me and go, ooh, that could make a cool game. I very recently sold a card game that I actually designed almost 5 years ago. It just never found an owner. And then I was talking to a guy, and he goes, I'm thinking about doing a card game. And I was like, well, I've got a couple of engines sitting in my hard drive if you want to take a look. So it is more than a full-time job, because I never really stop working.
That makes sense.
But it is in all, Rich is right. It is also passion. If I wasn't 100% gamer, there would be lots of days where I would not want to walk through that door and come into this studio. I do this because I love it, but I also I need to be able to put food on my table and pay my mortgage. And like I said, I do okay, but right now I'm working for 4 different companies currently on existing products or existing projects. So I've got to juggle my time as absolutely best as possible, and I have to also try not to spend the money as fast as it comes, because you never know if you ever hit a dry spell as a freelancer.
Right.
We don't get unemployment. We can't file for that.
Right.
So yes and no.
So here's a question then about Krilla in 1985 has Andui has a comment. They say, sounds scary even with things you love. Burnout is real. Is burnout a thing for you? Do you ever get burnt out?
Yes. 100%.
Because you're human. You're bound to get burnt out.
Yeah. One of the things that I am I don't want to use that whole blessed, but it's a double-edged sword, anything like that. I don't sleep very much. I never have. My imagination since I was a child is always turned up to 11. And sometimes that can end up being poor situational moments. But overall, what it does mean is that when I dream extremely vividly. And if something happens in one of my dreams that is unpleasant, I will wake up and just be done. Be like, nope, I'm not going back to sleep tonight. That's not happening. So
I thought you were going to say you write it down and you use it in your stories.
Oh no, if it's a good thing, absolutely. I have a card game completely finished on my hard drive based off of a dream.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
100%. I woke up and was like, I need to find something to write this down before I fall out of that brain space. But I generally speaking, part of the reason why I constantly overbook myself. I'll be writing a novel and doing a miniatures game and a role-playing game all at the same time is to try and fight burnout.
Right.
Because if I'm working really hard on one thing and I start finding myself kind of just staring at the screen being like, oh, okay, only 50 more pages. I can take a break, pull myself out, and go do something else.
Right.
I can work on stat blocks for the next, the skirmish game that I'm working on, or something like that, to kind of sort of refresh the, kind of reprime the pump, and then go when this starts, getting kind of stale. I'll move on to the next thing. But for the most part, unless it is a harsh deadline that like I'm down to the wire and I cannot jump off of something, I don't hit burnout very often.
Okay.
I do my best to avoid it.
Right. Yeah. Do you have a favorite genre you like to write in?
I have discovered that I really like I like high sci-fi. I just recently finished a novel for Shadowrun for Catalyst Game Labs.
Mm-hmm.
I did a novella for them in the last summer. I just finished up a novel, and I'm getting ready to do another one for them. I've decided that, whereas I originally thought of myself as more of a sword and sorcery type author, give me the clash of steel kind of thing, killing monsters and saving the day. I really do like narrating firefights, firefights and explosions and things a lot. So I would lean heavy on that right now. And if somebody like Black Library hit me up to do like a grimdark 40K or Necromunda book or something, I would be super down.
That was my next question. So that answers that. So to expand upon that, what if you could choose any lore to write about in a Black Library novel? What would it be about? Would it be Xenos? Would it be a Space Marine chapter? What do you think you would choose?
Oh man, that's a really good question.
Chaos.
Wow, that is really good. I'm a Necron player through and through. Have been since we only had 4 models. But I don't think I would want to play with. I don't think I think I like being a spectator when it comes to that. I like to just kind of see what happens to my army.
Okay.
If someone gave me the golden ticket and said I could write whatever I wanted to, I would do it. I would want to do the Return of the Squats.
Okay.
I had a very sizable squat exo armor army when I was in high school. Little armored dwarves on trikes, graviton guns, the whole 9 yards, and I think that would be. I know that there's always reset the clock. Someone mentioned something about squats, but they're in Necromunda. We know they exist. They're not gone. Mm-hmm. I would love for them to have like living almost like like Battlestar Galactica style. Like there was a handful of big old squat dreadnought ships, Leviathans, floating through space. They came back and saw that their planet was eaten by Tyranids and said, "Oh nope, I'm out," and that they just haven't returned yet from wherever part of the 40K lore they went. And now that they're back, they're super ticked off and short and angry. That's what I would if I had my druthers, I would bring back squats in a big way.
Nice. Okay, so we got a question here. The question is, with so many ideas and genres that you're writing in simultaneously, how do you keep your characters organized? How do you keep your stories organized?
Lots of separate computer files and Excel documents.
Okay.
I have for pretty much every like license that I work for, I will have an Excel doc that keeps tabs of all of the major players, all of the major characters, with maybe a couple of if it's someone that I might not remember, if it's 5 years later down the road, I'll have like a couple of distinguishing features for them written in the Excel doc. This guy speaks with a horrible Irish brogue and has bright green hair. Something along those lines. That it will hopefully jog my memory and get me back into that place, or remind me enough to then go to whatever project he was in and look him up real quick and go, oh, okay, now I know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, there's always that room for there's several times where I'll write a paragraph or two and kind of pause and go, wait a minute, have I done this? Like almost like have deja vu, like author deja vu, where it's like, have I done this before? Am I copying myself? Am I copying someone else? Like, okay, no, this is fresh and new. I'm just tired. But yeah, no, it's trying to take as many notes as possible, even if they're just hand scrawled reminders for a given project, is better than just going into a vacuum.
Are there certain shows or movies that that you like, that you draw inspiration from?
Yes, it's a difficult question.
Or what are some favorite shows? I guess
Well, that's the thing, is I don't have one.
Okay.
I'm one of those weirdos that I will watch a super. I'll be working on, like, recently I was working on the Shadowrun novel, and I had a bunch of Japanese horror flicks on Netflix that I'm not actually even reading the subtitles. They're literally just there to keep my brain from getting too focused on what I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll find inspiration in the weirdest things for the weirdest moments. A friend of mine recently got married, and I was talking to him about his wife, and their parents run a floral shop, and I got this immediate draw. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna use a pair of like mild-mannered Midwestern florists as an arms dealer pair in my next Shadowrun book. Like, it will come out of nowhere. Something will just spark and go, that'll be a really cool scene. So I don't ever, with the exception of, I've never been a big fan of Westerns, and which goes hand in hand with my dislike of country music. Aside from that, I can put just about anything. You could put My Little Pony on my Netflix screen, and I'll probably find something in there that I'll jot down and go, ooh, yeah, Applejack's a jerk. I bet I could find my own Applejack in Necromunda, or whatever. It just you try and pick up little things and then put your own color over the top of it. And I hope that by doing that, I don't end up carbon copying someone else's idea, because that's more than anything, that is probably my personal horror show. Yeah. Is that if I made a product, if I created something that I felt was original, that I felt was either a unique look or a solid homage without being just a straight up rip off of someone else's stuff, I would hate for fans or for readers or something to go, oh, so it's this, so it's basically Dune, so, oh my god, that's like my personal like pit of the stomach feeling if someone just equates your work to something else. Now, they could be doing it completely innocently. They could be doing it like, oh no, it's awesome, I love Dune to death, and what you've created is basically another Dune. I would still get that pit of the stomach feeling, because I feel like I'd be ripping off Herbert, that sort of thing. Yeah. If that makes any sense. I ramble a lot.
It does make sense. No, you got the gift of the speakings, which is good. I mean, it works out really well in your case, especially with your articulation of words and your thoughts. So just shifting gears here just for a second, we're going to do the giveaways soon.
Oh, okay.
Now, before we do the giveaways, the tradition is we do a chaos comment bomb first. So for those of us who are joining and don't know what a chaos comment bomb is, I'm going to provide you with a link to a YouTube video, and you'll just leave a comment on this YouTube video. And the comment could be something like, Dave and Bryan say hi from the Shrine of Chaos. Or it could be, the chaos is watching you. Or Bryan is writing a story about you right now. Or whatever it happens to be, as long as they know they've been chaos comment bombed by the Shrine of Chaos, that's really the most important thing. So I'm going to type that in.
That's such a cool thing. That's such a cool thing. That's awesome.
It would not be possible without the viewers, so you guys are amazing. and thanks for participating in this. And it's just a fun way of kind of paying it forward, right? Yeah, this one, Bryan, you recommended this one. This is a buddy of yours, yeah? And
yes, this is my buddy Chris's his channel. He started it back when he still owned the local store, and I had told him, this is well before COVID hit, and I had told him that I was going to help him with a bunch of battle reports and things, and life got in the way. So this is I feel very good that he's being Chaos Bomb.
And so this video is awesome. This is my favorite type of Chaos Comic Bomb because it literally had one view on it when I watched it. And there were no comments. So everything that we leave here right now, guys, is completely because of the chaosness that is happening right before our eyes. So very, very cool. You guys are amazing. Thank you for participating in this. And what's his name again? What did you mention?
His name's Christopher Lacrosse.
Lacrosse. He'd be popular in Canada, I tell you that. And so, Christopher, this is to you, man, and keep on playing that chaos in your store. That's what I say.
That's awesome.
So, Kill Team, that's the video. Secure the delivery site scenario review for Kill Team. Posted it a couple days ago. And one more time here, I'm just going to refresh and see how the comments here. 93? Okay, I think we're good. Bombed! Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so going on to the giveaways. Just really quick for you guys to participate in the giveaway. You have one last chance right now before names are drawn. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link in the chat as well. There's two ways really to enter the draw. One is to visit the Mini Wargaming Instagram and find the post that says Elite Edition Giveaway, and there's 3 of them. 3 of them are being given away today. So find that post and leave a comment on it. Very simple, right? That's one way. The other way is to be a Vault member in the Mini Wargaming Vault, and I'm going to provide you with a link in the chat, exact same way that we just did right now. So that is to the Vault if you want to do that. My audio went mono. Oh, okay. Audio is back. Okay. Yeah, so link to that post in the Mini Wargaming Vault, and you will need to be a Vault member to participate in that. And there are 2 boxes being given away to Vault members. So I'll give you guys a few moments there if you want to participate. Again, as a reminder for the other one, it is on Instagram. So check that out. Here, let's provide you a link to Instagram if you want to enter there. Instagram is interesting because, yeah, there it is. Okay. And same with Facebook posts. I've noticed that, like, in order to get the exact link to a post, you got to click on the date, which is kind of odd. You don't just like grab the URL. It doesn't work that way. You gotta.
Oh yeah, because it like shrinks it up and gives you the Facebook version.
Yeah. So here's the Instagram way of entering. It's days like this that I'm sad I don't have any social media things.
You have nothing that you're pumping right now?
Yeah. In the meantime, while you guys have a chance, if you want to sign up for the Vault, you may do so in order to enter the giveaway. I would certainly encourage that if you want that. It is for a free 7-day trial. And should you happen to not continue being a Vault member, I will be sad, but I understand. And that's totally kosher. You can do that too. So questions for Bryan in the meantime. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Plastic fuel for the Wolves funeral pyre.
What?
I don't. I'm just reading stuff. This is. I feel like Ron Burgundy sometimes, where I'm just like reading stuff.
If you put it on the teleprompter, I'll say it. I'm Ron Burgundy. What a great movie.
I agree. That is a good movie. Is there a game you've always wanted to make?
Yes. I apologize if you picked that up, but my neighbor has got the world's loudest motorbike. I hope that you guys didn't hear that.
Sounds like an airplane.
Okay. What? It sounded like an airplane?
Yeah, a little bit. Who's your favorite chaos god? There's a question.
Slaanesh.
Slaanesh?
I played World Eaters for a long time. I loved Korn, but I think as an entity, I dig Slaanesh.
Okay. Going back to
I would love to do a new Emperor's Children book, like a code, like an add-on book. You know, they're doing the supplements.
Yeah.
I would love to do a Emperor's Children supplement.
Nice.
That'd be sweet.
Have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome?
I don't know if I don't know if I know the reference.
Imposter syndrome, where it's like you are. I mean, you're writing for these games and you're creating books and stuff and developing these games, and you are in that position where you are, and the imposter syndrome is like, how come I get to be the one to do this? How am I qualified to do this? And that's typically what imposter syndrome is. So as a very bad explanation, that's probably not what you would find on an actual definition of it, but that's the gist of it.
I don't think I've ever... I'm generally... I'm so perfect. It's because of my humility. No, it's I don't think I've ever really fallen into that category where I don't think that I've worked to get to where I am.
Right.
I like to say that I lucked out to land on the path that I happen to be on. Right. But then once the luck ran out, that hopefully like skill and dedication kept me going. Right. You know, people have continued to hire me and sought me out and headhunted me because of what I've done, not because of that lucky night at the Alliance open house. I don't think that I've ever run into a situation where I've said that, you know, why me? Why am I in this position that I'm in? Because honestly, I don't know what I would do if I wasn't here. Because I'm a foodie. I could probably get into like being a chef or something like that. But maybe that's it. Like I'm not terribly skilled. It's my ex-wife actually had said that she's like, you know, in a zombie apocalypse they would go, what skills do you bring? I was like, well, I can fire a mean bow and arrow and I can butcher animals and cook. That's what I got going for me. And they'd be like, oh, but you're a writer, you could teach us history. And I'd be like, if it's not sci-fi history, you got nothing. You know, the next generation after the apocalypse, they're going to be learning about President Lando Malari when he crossed the Death Star, because real history, it has been pushed out of my brain many, many years ago. I realize this now that we're doing so much homeschooling with the kids because of COVID and because of the pandemic. My children are smarter than me when it comes to like what they're schooling people at now, because I look at their homework. If I wanted to help them with some of this stuff, I got nothing. Like, you know, I'm looking at the math that my stepdaughter does, and I go, nope. I can give you high-end dice theory to about 7 places, but that's it. Like if it doesn't have to do with game theory or game development, nope. If you want long division, that's going to be a calculator. That's happening. I
mean, that's more practical anyway. I mean, okay. So just one sec here, just to go back to the giveaway. I said something inaccurate before. There is a giveaway in the vault. There's also another one on YouTube for those of you who are wondering. There's an Instagram one, there's a YouTube one, and there's a Mini Wargaming Vault one. So I've given you the links to the Vault one and to the Instagram one. I will now give you the link to the YouTube one. So if you want to enter via YouTube, here is the link to that video, and you can leave a comment on that video, and that's how you enter it. Then I'll grab one of the comments. Chaos Bomb, the giveaway video. That's funny. Michael Close, you're not too worried about it. Good luck to the winner. Why would you not enter? I just had to say it. Okay, so I'll give you guys a moment there. Right now, I've given you guys enough time for Instagram, so we're going to pull the winner right now on Instagram. Here we go. Looking at the comments. And this is honestly just like wherever the mouse wheel cursor happens to land. And I'll make sure to expand it so that it's like including the people who have already left comments. It takes a bit. I had it pre-opened, so I'll have to kind of update the comments just to make sure that everyone's here. Okay. All right, you guys ready? All right, 3, 2, 1. Pray018. Pray is in Prae. That's how I'm pronouncing it. 018. Congratulations on Instagram for that. Super awesome. Here, let me just take a note. Okay, going on
what
to...
What did they win?
They won an Elite Edition Warhammer 40k starter set, Space Marines, and Necrons. So
fantastic.
So now, for the second one, because there's 3 in total. Okay, so here's 3 here. Okay, so you got a contagious smile aura. Laugh.
It's the daddy beard and the fat guy cheeks. I automatically, aside from like white fur, I have the Santa Claus thing happening.
Have you ever met Phil, the Glacial Geek?
Have
you heard of him?
Maybe.
YouTube channel. He does bat rips. Anyway, I call him my cousin, even though he's not. And you guys could be brothers, man. Like, you guys definitely are cut from the same cloth. I tell you that. even personality-wise, too. Like, it's crazy. It's very uncanny. Okay. And now for this one, we're going to do the one on YouTube. Let's do that. Let's save the vault for last. Wow, this is taking a long time for the comments to load. I'll give that a moment. Okay, we're going down to comments left a week ago. Okay, very good. Boom, boom, boom. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Admiral Crow. The comment that person left is, "I want one. Just don't tell my wife."
Well, you got one.
Yeah. Just don't tell my wife, LOL. So,
Admiral Crow.
Congrats.
With an E at the end? Is it Crow with the E at the end, or just like the bird?
Just like the bird. Admiral Crow.
Okay.
You are the winner. And
you do indeed get one.
Going to pin this. Boom. So everyone can see. Pinned comment is the first one. All right.
That's awesome.
Okay, now for the vault one, we'll do the third one.
The vault.
The vault. All right, just load in the comments here. This is a little unique in that it's not typically how we do the giveaways for the Shrine of Chaos. Typically, it's people leave comments, which we'll also do that because you have giveaways.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do that for people watching live right now. Just give a moment here. Okay. So for the vault member, 3, 2, 1. Godzilla War Schnitt. Congratulations. That's funny.
That's one of my favorite things to do when doing a TikTok live is when people's names come up in the feed, trying to decipher what their handle actually means or how it's pronounced.
Yep.
My favorite one is when it's obviously someone's name but followed by like 57. It's like, is that your age or were there 56 other Kathleen Schmidts? You know.
Yeah. Okay, Admiral Crow. That's for YouTube. Awesome. Okay, and then Prey 018 for Instagram. Okay, perfect. All right, now switching over to Power Rangers. Let's do some of this. Now, for this is people. What you'll need to do is you'll need to leave a comment in order to enter the giveaway. We'll call it that. Really, what it is a visual representation of proving to us that should the cursor land on your name, you want to win. So that's all. That's all that means. So.
Visible representation that you want to win something. That you would like free things.
So, Brian, what should the keyword be for people to enter to win some of this Power Ranger stuff?
A keyword. Like that it has to be in their comment?
Yes, they have to type in the word right now if they're watching live.
Let's say... If they can type in "it's morphin' time."
Nice. That's awesome. Excuse me. It's morphin' time, man. I remember watching that. I remember.
So funny story about "it's morphin' time." Because this is such a big license and it's attached to several other Hasbro properties that we are working with, Hasbro is very, very specific as to how you can write certain things, how you can refer to certain things. And we were given a list of vocabulary, basically Power Rangers vocabulary that not only do they want us to use these, but if we write them, we have to write them in this particular way. This has to be capitalized. This has to be, hyphenated, whatnot. And some of those are like morphentacular, let the power protect you, things from the show, obviously.
Yeah.
And any time that morphin is written, it can never be morphing.
Has to be morphin.
You may never put a G at the end of that. And the grammar freak in me, it kills me, but you also can never put the apostrophe that shows that it's missing a letter.
Oh, okay.
You're not allowed to put that there anywhere. You can't put there. And if you ever write "it's morphin' time," it has to be exclamated.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No matter what.
No matter what.
No matter where it happens to be, it must end with an exclamation mark. Where they get their power from is the morphin grid. And I was like, well, can we just call it like the grid or the power grid or something? And they're like, nope, it is the morphin grid. And don't you dare put a G or an apostrophe on there.
Awesome.
It's little things like that. And I'm sure it has something to do with when they bought, when Hasbro bought all of the Power Rangers stuff from Saban, they bought it 100%. basically all of the comics, all of the shows, every licensed entity from Saban is now owned by Hasbro.
Mm-hmm.
Including, which I didn't know about, there was apparently like this little like high-end Saban paid for a high-end podcast that was effectively like a Twitch game, like a Twitch stream. That was somebody's homebrew roleplay game of Power Rangers. Saban bought it; they paid for it, and so when Hasbro bought the whole thing, that little Twitch stream thing became canon. It became part of what they bought from Saban.
Interesting.
I've been through many a licensing agreement, and I've never seen one so complete. Like
Right.
there's almost always a window. There's almost always if you ever decide to make online animation, claymation videos, you can do that. Like there's almost always some kind of window that they can try and make more money on the back end. This was 100% just here, stamp, it's yours. And I've never had that kind of access to a license before.
Awesome. All right, so time to choose a winner. We're going to go 3, 2, 1. Pretoria Gaming.
Ooh.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Pretoria Gaming. That's a Twitch viewer. So let's see. Pretoria Gaming. All right, this is what I'm gonna do, Brian. I'm gonna grab their info and then I'll just message it to you.
That sounds great. I will make it happen.
Oh, let's turn that down. Okay, Pretoria _gaming. Hey, just won the window. Okay, awesome. I'll need your shipping address, name, shipping address, probably phone number and email. That's probably the best info. Is there anywhere you won't ship? I guess it's probably too late to ask.
Yeah, is it outside of an hour? No, it'd be, it doesn't matter. Anywhere you need this to go, I'll send it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much for that.
Hey, no worries. Got to spread the love somehow.
All right. So that's it, man. I mean, thanks so much for being on the show. And
This was cool, man. This was awesome. I've always been the kind of person that friends of mine have said I've never met a microphone that I didn't like, and they're right. I'll talk all day. So if you have to cut me off, or I'll just keep on going.
And that's totally cool. Let's jump on the Bryan train and listen all day, man. Listen to stories and listen to narratives. Super cool. And so thanks again. You're certainly welcome back in the Shrine of Chaos. And thank you guys for participating. Congratulations to the winners. Stay tuned next week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, for the Shrine of Chaos.